Mutual aid transcends human boundaries, existing even among animals. In the wild, numerous species display remarkable acts of kindness and cooperation, extending beyond their own kind. Picture a slender deer bravely confronting a formidable hawk, foes known for their animosity providing assistance to each other, and some animals going as far as to prevent others from facing starvation. This presentation will highlight some of the most fascinating and heartwarming examples of cross-species assistance. Join us to explore these extraordinary moments. Buffalo and lizard. Tourists in Kruger National Park in South Africa decided to film young lions resting near a river. At one point, one of the predators disappeared into the bushes and soon emerged with its prey, a large lizard. This is where the filming began. The predator and its offspring huddled together, ready to celebrate a successful hunt and feast on the reptile. When suddenly, a buffalo appeared and disrupted their plans. The herbivore decided to save the reptile, kicked the lion, and threw it a couple of meters into the air. It looked brutal. Of course, after such humiliation, the predators had to forget about the lizard, and the reptile itself took advantage of the commotion and escaped. Goat, rooster, and hen. Hawks are getting beaten not only by deer, but also by smaller animals. A surveillance camera installed on a farm in the Netherlands captured an amazing scene of a northern goshawk swooping down on a young hen strolling through the grass. This is the largest species of hawk. The birds are over half a meter in length, have a wingspan of about 1 meter, and can fly at a speed of up to 61 kilometers per hour during the flight. Such a formidable opponent, the hen could not cope alone, but luckily, the rooster came to its aid. A local goat named Bruin also decided to help. While the rooster pecked the hawk, Bruin pecked it. Together, they recaptured the hen from the hawk. The hen fled, but the furious rescuers didn't stop the fight. The bird itself had to admit defeat and fly away quickly to avoid being killed. Deer and rabbit. Chris Miller, who works in a park in Wisconsin, was trimming trees and at one point found a breathless red-tailed hawk with signs of trauma on the ground. The park was under video surveillance, and the man used the footage to determine why the bird had died. As it turned out, the fearsome bird of the Accipitridae family was subdued by a slim deer. The hawk had caught a small rabbit and was about to eat it. The prey made loud, shrill noises, to which a white-tailed deer ran by. It abruptly changed direction, fearlessly pounced down on the predator, and began kicking and biting it. The bird loosened its grip, and the rabbit was able to escape, but the deer acquired the taste so much that it desired to finish the job. The cloven hoof one kicked the bird until it stopped resisting. After that, the hero joined its congeners and went off into the woods. Dog and fawn. Alabama resident Ralph Dorn noticed his dog Harley wasn't around one evening during a walk. By this time, the pet usually comes home, so Ralph looked out the window to make sure Harley was okay. Living by the lake, Ralph realized that the dog was now busy with important things. Harley was swimming in the middle of the pond trying to save a fawn. The fawn almost became a victim of the water element. Even grown-up deer get tired quickly when swimming across rivers, and fawns regularly drown. Luckily for the fawn, it survived the day thanks to the heroic Harley. The dog swam to the right place and with all his might began to drive the young deer back to land, encouraging and not leaving it alone. The rescue operation ended safely, and the fawn looked frightened, but soon its mother appeared from the bushes, and the reunited family went about their business. Dogs are amazing creatures. Fawns are just one of the few animals that these four-legged beauties are willing to help. They'd also help others in need. Stay tuned to see how a dog rescued a cat, as well as other amazing moments of mutual assistance between animals of different species. Cat and dog. Cats and dogs are some of the main enemies in the animal world. Yes, in the home, these creatures can get along and even become great friends, but in the street, they usually make no bones and arrange a brutal showdown with each other, but not in this case. This cat got into the water and couldn't get out. A dog came to the tailed creature and began to examine the poor fellow. You can see that the cat, scared, it hits the dog with its paw on its face and scratches it, but the dog doesn't react to this. Now it's thinking of a rescue plan. When the plans matured, the dog jumped into the water, cat on its back, and together they climbed up. There are reverse situations too when dogs need help. This black cat had been fussing around some crevice for a long time, so the eyewitnesses decided to turn on the camera to see how it would end. Turns out a dog had somehow gotten into the crevice. The dog was big enough so it couldn't get out on its own. When the black cat couldn't get the dog out with its paws, it decided to sneak in and push it itself. The plan worked. The cat pushed the dog out, and soon it got out on its own. Orangutan and Duckling. Images in which a large animal is helping a small animal are always touching and surprising. Here we can see such footage. A tiny duckling snuck into the enclosure where the orangutan lived. It went to a small pond and fell in the water. The tiny duckling had hatched from an egg several days ago and couldn't swim at all. The owner of the enclosure itself came to the rescue of the drowning one. At first, the orangutan tried to pull it out with the help of a leaf, pulling it toward the shore, and then, to the cheering of the public, grabbed it by the beak and carried it to the ground. After the chicken recovered somewhat, the monkey began to gently stroke it and examine it. You don't see that kind of care very often. Duck and fish. Not only do ducks get into bad situations, but they can also try to help others when they're in trouble. Here we see just such a scene. The duck sits in the food trough, dips the food into the water, and the hungry fish, which have been unable to find food for a long time, immediately gobble up the treat. As for me, it can also be called a rescue because the duck helps the fish not starve to death. In general, to be honest, the duck does not really help the fish. More precisely, it does it not quite consciously. In fact, the bird dips the food into the water, trying to moisten it. The fish simply take the opportunity to grab something or pick up the crumbs that have fallen. This can be seen on other occasions with other birds and fish. In any case, it can be called a rescue and help, though not a conscious one, and the main thing is that everyone remains happy. Killer whales and whales. While I'm on the subject of water, why not consider marine animals? A few months ago, while observing whales and other marine life, guides from an Australian tour company saw several orcas, which, judging by their activity, were stalking prey. Soon, a potential prey was spotted. A huge humpback whale that was in an unnatural position backed down. In addition, the animal was entangled in ropes and was weakened. Usually, orcas don't mind eating humpback whales, but this time, they were noble and freed the whale from the ropes. Scientists have long known that orcas are social and highly intelligent animals that are capable of compassion for their own kind. But this case of helping another species was a novelty even for experienced researchers. Hippo and Antelope. By the way, did you know that one of the relatives of whales is a mammal that lives in hot Africa? As strange as it may sound, it's a hippo. For a long time, it was assumed that hippos were close relatives of pigs, but modern science says that hippos are closer to whales because hippos and whales had a common ancestor millions of years ago. Apparently, this is why hippos, like whales, are able to come to the aid of those in need. In this case, an antelope was in trouble when a crocodile clung to it. The poor thing tried to resist for about a minute, but the crocodile kept biting harder and harder and kept pulling it into the pond. Two hippos intervened. The giants swam to the scene and chased the reptile away. The antelope was saved. Even though it injured its leg, it still managed to survive, and that's the most important thing. Hippos also help other defenseless herbivores in Africa, for example, zebras. In this footage, we see a zebra lying quietly in a pond for a while. Suddenly, it started floundering. A crocodile attacked it underwater. Fortunately for it, it all happened in the territory of hippos, so these giants quickly subdued the reptile and saved the striped creature from certain death. That's all, guys. Which animal rescue impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you later.